Aloha folks and welcome. Today we are talking about women's golf clubs. I know last time I said I was going to discuss wedges more, and I think I was going to talk about maybe the bounce, but I forgot that the previous week Claudia Rothwell had asked me to do a video on women's golf clubs, and I said okay, and then I kind of failed. So today we're going to talk about women's golf clubs, all right? Um, Women's golf clubs, my opinion is that there's no difference in selecting women's golf clubs versus men's golf clubs. It's the same thing. Typically, women swing the golf club a little slower and probably have a little less smash factor there. But basically, it's the same thing. And I guess the difference would be not as many choices, right? Where with men, you have extra stiff shafts, regular shafts, senior flex shafts. And for women, it's pretty much, you have the lightweight and the ultra lightweight, but the same women's flex. Some ladies like to go up to senior flex, and even some go to regular and stiff, depending on how fast they swing and how much smash factor they have. Okay. The one thing I would say is really great about women's golf clubs and that they have an advantage over most men is box sets or complete sets. I know that there's a couple of brands out there that make beautiful complete sets, and I encourage you ladies to check them out, especially if you're just getting started. You can get a high quality set of golf clubs from the driver to the putter, beautiful golf bag, reasonably priced. Whereas if you go out and buy a la carte, just like one club at a time, you're spending probably what, 2-3 times more. And there's nothing wrong with doing that, but if you're gonna spend that kind of money, you really should be ready for that investment, as well as know exactly what clubs you want to get. Okay. But I really think that's a huge advantage. When men come into the shop and they ask me about complete sets, usually what I do is I encourage them to go online and go to Craigslist or eBay or something like that. And I tell them to look for a good used set, one that is probably like, I don't know, 2-3 generations old, but in decent condition, because that way, it might not be custom fitted to you, but you're hitting something of quality and growing into that. And then when you finally get to the point where you're ready to be fitted and get your own customized set of golf clubs, then you're in a good position, and you're in a good place in your golf journey where you're ready to pull the trigger on that. But getting back to women's golf clubs, I think the complete set is the way to go for most women, especially when you're just getting into the game, or if you're a weekend warrior, But if you're an avid golfer, this is kind of where it changes a little. And I think this is where you need to go and get fitted. So go to your local, your home course, see your PGA professional or your fitting specialist, and get fitted, because you're going to be able to choose the proper club head, proper lie angle, the shaft that suits you the best, how long should it be, the grip size, the diameter of the grip, the composition of the grip, etc., etc., etc. Even what clubs should you get. Sometimes you don't need all the clubs, you can have an abbreviated set, especially if you are swinging a little slower. You don't want all the irons for sure. You want to get as quickly as possible into the or as soon as possible into the hybrids and fairways, because they are going to help you to hit the ball higher and carry farther, land softer, more playable. Because if you're not generating enough club head speed, as the irons get longer, you are going to have a tendency to have run out. The ball will not stop. It'll hit the target, probably land short, and then run through the distance that you want to go to. So definitely want to get into those hybrids and fairways sooner. But Another thing to discuss is for the women that are a little stronger, or they swing a little faster, or maybe they're taller, so they have these attributes that generate more club head speed, more smash factor, or just a better player. Um, you know, they a lot of times women come in the shop and start talking about senior flex shafts. Should I do senior flex shafts? And the one thing I will caution you against is, if you are a woman golfer or a female golfer that hits the ball a little further than your friends, even quite a bit further than your friends, if you're not hitting your driver, like say over 200 yards, kind of close to maybe 210, 220, then you should stay with the women's flex, women's golf club, because if you go up to the senior flex shaft and the men's golf club, it's going to be heavier, the shafts are going to be longer, they're going to weigh a little more, and they'll be a little stiffer, a little less torque, and it's not going to help the ball stay in the air as much. And that's what women need if they are not generating the proper amount of club head speed. So unless you're hitting that driver out there 200 plus, more like 220, just stay with the ladies clubs. They are gonna serve you better. But if you are that gal that's bringing it and you're getting it out there 200 plus, around 220 or even more, then consider going into that senior flex shaft. And not just, well, I don't know, it depends on your preference, but you might want to just go into a whole nother set of clubs and get custom fitted. With the women's clubs, or the even some of the super senior clubs, they're going with lightweight materials. Another thing to caution you against is, a lot of times people think, oh, I'll just get a lightweight shaft, I'll just change the shaft, I can get this club and put a ladies flex shaft or put an ultralight shaft in there, and that'll make a difference. That's not the whole thing. That's not a proper golf club suitable for lower club head speed or female golfer is one that has a light club head, then a lightweight shaft that has flex in it and higher torque. Also, combined with this, you're gonna have a lighter grip because it has to balance properly. So if you're just throwing that lightweight shaft in there and you got a club head that's way too heavy, you're not gonna get the same performance. I noticed that this season coming out, I've sat through a couple of presentations where some of the major manufacturers are now going to go ahead and offer golf clubs with the lighter heads, the lighter shafts, and the lighter grips, and not just in a ladies set, but also in a men's set. So they're bringing that technology, and that's going to be great. So I'm really, really excited about this season, especially for our women and senior golfers. Hopping all over the place, but getting back to what shaft to choose or what type of golf club. So you're a lady golfer, you're a female golfer, and you're hitting it out there. You're out there, you're crushing your drives out there 220 plus. You want to get into that senior flex. Again, I encourage you, maybe look into the entire set. Now, if you are hitting it more, you're going 230, 240 now. Well, now you're kind of in a regular flex category. And you'll kind of know, because if this is you, if you're playing from the white tees with your guy friends, you're probably keeping up with them or right nipping at their heels. Or if you're playing from the women's tees, you're just blowing it way past everybody. That would be a good indication that now it's time to start investigating regular flex shafts. And then, if you're going 250 plus, you're kind of moving into a stiff shaft category. So I think that, like, we talk about ladies clubs and stuff, but it's really not about ladies clubs. It's kind of like you go from extra stiff shafts for the guys that are putting it, guys and gals that are putting it out there, like 280 to 300 plus, like that's probably extra stiff shaft, between, I don't know, 250 to 270, that's kind of like your stiff flex. 240, 230 regular flex, 220, maybe even 210 senior flex, below 200 ladies flex, and then even I think they have different weights. So then you go to the ultralight ladies flex graphite shaft. So if you think about it that way, it's not really about gender. It's more about club head speed and how far you're hitting a golf ball. But I will say, for you traditional women that are in that category, there's some really beautiful complete sets out there, and I really encourage you to look closely at those because value is really high. Hopefully that helps. Claudia, I hope you enjoyed that. I think you know all this stuff already because you used to work at the golf course with us, but that one is for you and your friends, okay? For all of the rest of you, next week, we'll talk about wedges, okay? Aloha.